We are in a very changing time right now, and the change is going to be turbulent. We are shifting from an age that was committed to matter as the primary reality to an age in which energy is the primary reality. And right now it's chaos because the forms are gone, the energy is raging, but the energy is not yet focused. Yeah. So people are becoming super-powered, egoic individuals, just greedy and self-centered. Yeah. And the planet is polarizing.
The deep state begins with the Rothschilds and the Vatican. They have had financial power since time immemorial. The Rothschilds were instrumental in setting up central banks. These central banks are the means by which private interests control public interests. They manipulate interest rates. The other billionaires make their money by manipulating interest rates, by manipulating foreign exchange rates, by starting wars to drive up the price of oil so that Goldman Sachs can make its futures bet. Okay? So the deep state is about bankers, including religions, the Vatican particularly, but also the Jewish religion as manipulated by the Zionists in Israel. Saudi Arabia and Wahhabism is part of the deep state. And then you have the complicit media, complicit academics, and then you have the secret intelligence services that are using their powers to spy on politicians and blackmail the politicians on behalf of the deep state.
And then we have other families like the Rockefellers, who took over the educational system because they didn't want smart people, they wanted workers. And I'm not just making this up, this is an actual quote by them. We want a nation of workers, not thinkers.
Okay, I had to share these videos with you because it's really a warning out to my Midwest people and even going into Canada. Have you heard about what's going around right now? Exploding trees, our extreme cold front, the cold weather that's rolling in, and people are seeing sub-zero temperatures. It's getting so cold that the sap inside these trees are freezing and it's causing the trees to explode. Now, meteorologists, news, they're saying that this is a rare phenomenon, doesn't really happen, but yet we're now starting to see video after video of this rare phenomenon actually happening. Take a look at these videos, comment below, and if you're in these areas, be careful. If you hear creaking coming from your trees, step away, get away, no need to put yourself in danger. Stay warm, stay safe.
There's no way my tree exploded. What the f? I didn't think that was true.
Worst punishments in history that you will wish I never told you about. This is music torture and is actually still used today by certain authorities. You will be taken into a secluded room with a bag placed over your head, with goggles on top of it. You won't be able to see anything, won't be able to hear anything, you're not going to be getting any food, water, nothing, mate. But it's not just that. It's called music torture because you'll be given a pair of headphones which will go over the bag, and they will play the same song on repeat, non-stop, for hours, days, weeks, maybe even months. CIA famously used the song Barney the Dinosaur and Another One Bites the Dust. It made the victims endure the highest level of psychosis, reportedly. Imagine listening to a song on repeat, non-stop, especially one of those. There's of course a number of different reasons why they did this and apparently still do. Obviously one of the main ones is to get information out of somebody, and they actually do exercises of this for SAS training, where people will be tested to their absolute limits on how long they can last in environments like this, and if they'll then break under pressure. This is going to get 100 times worse. Hit that follow button and I will see you in the next one.
This explains everything, why we're even here. That's right, we're talking about the Anunnaki. In 1849, archaeologists unearthed 14 tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, over 4,000 years old, written by the Sumerians, the very first human civilization we know of dating back 6,000 years. These tablets contained the Eridu-Genesis, and what they say could change everything. It started about 445,000 years ago, when these sky gods called the Anunnaki arrived on Earth. And their name has been translated to meaning those from which heaven to earth came. They hailed from a world far out in our solar system called Nibiru that gets close to us every 3,600 years. And don't forget, the Sumerians had pretty advanced astronomical knowledge, somehow without the telescope. Like, they knew about all of the planets, which sounds impossible because we know about every planet that orbits the sun, right? Well, as it turns out, NASA has been searching for what they call Planet 9 or Planet X for decades due to finding unexplained gravitational anomalies out there. And recently, Caltech astronomers published evidence of a massive planet with an extremely elongated orbit beyond Neptune, with an orbital period estimated to be around 3,600 years. What are the odds? So why come to Earth? Well, the Anunnaki apparently needed water and gold to fix their atmosphere, which is interesting because we use gold today in spacecraft for radiation shielding because it's incredibly effective. Now, according to the story, the Anunnaki originally brought their own workers called the Ajiji. They were brought in to mine gold in the Persian Gulf in Africa, but they revolted after about 250,000 years of brutal labor and were crushed. Afterwards, an Anunnaki leader named Enki created a slave race of workers by combining the Anunnaki DNA with Homo erectus around 250,000 years ago. They call this species Adamu, which in Hebrew, Adam means man. Sound familiar? Well, the Sumerian tablets were created 1,000 years before the story of Genesis in the Bible. But then things start to happen. Some Anunnaki started interbreeding with human women, and they wound up giving birth to giants. Yeah, those kind of giants that many believe were the Nephilim. And they were incredibly violent and powerful, and it just threw a whole wrench into the Anunnaki's plans. So Enki's brother, Enlil, who was leading things at the time, was like, and decided that humanity needed to be wiped out and reset with a cataclysmic flood. Now, hundreds of cultures around the world have a flood myth, and many of these cultures have had zero contact with each other over the eons. So how is it that they would have all had a similar story about a flood? After the flood, the tablets say that the Anunnaki helped the surviving humans to rebuild, but they also installed certain humans as kings, family bloodlines that would rule over the rest of us to make sure that we stayed under their control, while the real rulers from Nibiru watch from afar. Some think that this system is still in place today, just with new names instead of kings and peasants. But that's all just a theory. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, that's crazy about the egg yolks, but can we talk about the full eyelash set that you pulled out of your food? That can't be real. That can't be real. I'm just gonna. Pigs have eyelashes, right? Pigs have eyelashes. Right. Oh, the Soylent Green conspiracy theory, because why is there a full set of eyelashes in your food attached to a whole piece of face? And in the video, she pulls that out of like a thing of, I think, pork. So please let that be pork eyelashes. If I got this out of my food, I would never eat meat again. What's really weirding me out though is it has like freckles. It has pores. It's a part of a face. Where did you find this video? Where's this full video? I'd love to see this full video, because it's just in a compilation video of weird stuff people have found in their food. And it's the very first video in it. And the person isn't talking about what's going on in these videos. They're just showing random videos. So hopefully this isn't even real and it's like some makeup or something, because that's terrifying.
Okay, so even to me, this is weird. Do you notice it? Center of the picture? I circled it for you. That looks weird to me. That's some kind of pillar of light. Okay, I know some people are gonna say, that's just beams of sunlight coming down through a little spot in the clouds. And maybe it is, but I've never seen anything like that. And as we get a closer view, it could very well be. But at the same time, it's weird looking. It's kind of weird looking. And to tell you the truth, a little off-putting. Now other people might say it's just some kind of lens flare or reflection on the camera. Except there's more than one image of this. Here's a different view of the same thing. Come on, that's weird. And to tell you the truth, I can't tell if it's going up or coming down.
Oh, I found a glitched person. Just wait. They look like they're running, right? They're not. They're staying in place. They've been there for like 2 minutes. What?
People are just finding out why they actually do this to babies. Yes, this is real, and they actually do this. There is a lot of these devices that they use to squish babies inside. You know, that sounds good. They literally look like medieval torture devices, right? And when you see these things, you think they are not humane. What the hell is this for? I'm sure you all know babies and toddlers don't exactly sit still for the longest time. So we have to find a way to basically keep them still while they're in the doctor's or the hospital for a procedure. It's very dangerous and not sustainable for the doctor or someone to be forcefully holding that child down on the bed. Yeah. So although these machines and devices look very scary and, well, kind of horrible, it might scare the child a little bit, but it's going to keep them still and mean that they're far safer and protect the healthcare workers as well. Also, when used in things like x-rays, it prevents excess radiation from getting out. And these machines basically have like a little seat that the baby sits on and they're, well, stuck in it, so it's not good. So it doesn't harm the baby. It's mainly used for when they're having x-rays or other procedures done, but it does happen.
AI-induced cultural stagnation is no longer a theory, it is reality. Come with me and let's learn about what AI is doing to art, and our lives, and the news. It's not great. As you probably know, we've crossed the threshold where most of the articles you read on the internet is just AI. Most web traffic is just AI, but it's also infiltrating our lives. As companies hire less artists and just use AI, we will eventually run out of new ideas, because AI is not creative. We know that it must use primary material in order to survive, because when it trains on self, it degrades. Let's think about that for a moment. AI, even when optimized, is going to come up with an average. It tends to take images and ideas and standardize them. That may sound absurd, but we are already seeing it. Some researchers are trying to solve the problem of AI just becoming homogeneous, where everything is the same, by teaching it how to be creative. This involves teaching an AI about different forms of art, and then allowing it to deviate from the norms. This is supposed to replicate the natural human inspiration process, in which we look at foreseeably copywritten material or just stuff produced by others, and then deviate from it to create our own unique patterns of expression. Interestingly, this could actually go a long way towards creating AI personalities that feel unique to that AI. It's also possibly a nightmare for artists everywhere. Although I can give you a couple of positive notes. AI does not actually increase productivity, so there's not a very good reason for people to continue to use it in the workplace. It creates more problems, and people always find a way to procrastinate, but we also know that AI agents should probably not be allowed to work alone. A probable future, at least in the interim, is that people continue using AI but collaborate. Maybe they're trying to write a sentence and they just can't figure out how to write it, so they ask AI for suggestions. That will probably happen too. Unfortunately, that idea will again lead to the homogenization, where everything is just standardized and the same.
I have a video for you today that may be proof as to why you should never have two mirrors facing each other. This witness was walking into his room when he saw something chilling in his bedroom mirror. Something that absolutely terrified him. It looked like a demon. But the thing is, he had two mirrors facing each other accidentally. And you may not know this, but the lore around putting two mirrors facing each other is that it creates a doorway, a hallway of sorts in between realms and dimensions, and sometimes something can come through. Take a look at this video, comment below, tell me what you think. Did you see it? And just to shed some clarity, the dresser mirror seems to be facing a closet door mirror. You know, the sliding closet doors with mirrors? It's a pure accidental situation, but it definitely looks like something was looking back. Watch again. Be sure to comment your thoughts.
Did we capture the best paranormal evidence we have caught on camera so far? I believe we have. The video I'm about to show you is completely unedited. It is raw and it is pulled directly from a live which happened on TikTok last night. Many of you may know I've been experiencing paranormal activity in my home. Therefore, I've been investigating. We have been doing live streams from the loft, these paranormal lives, to try and capture any evidence. And last night, I believe we did. Was that me? Was that me? Now, I have slowed that right down and I am physically not touching anything. I'm not even anywhere near the objects which fell. We were then asking for whoever it was to play with the lights on Dumbo, on the teddy on the floor, and watch what happened. There was a siren not long ago. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Now I have... Whoa, 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 whoa. Why is the light moving? Again, I have slowed it right the way down so that you can see right on cue the EMF light also spikes, and also the balloon behind Dumbo starts to move. Just to remind you, this happened live with people watching, and this is why I do these things live, because I want you to witness the same time I witness. You are seeing it happen in real time. Can't argue with that. Big, massive love to everyone on that live last night. It was incredible. There is another live on Sunday at 9 PM. If you want to come and join that, feel free. You are more than welcome. And for anyone who wasn't on the live last night, we did get the return of George.
What exactly is this sonic wonder weapon the US used against Venezuela to capture Maduro? Well, a few years ago, they straight up showed us they can attack people with invisible waves using a special device called an active denial system, ADS, which shoots a beam of high-frequency microwaves towards a victim, causing them to stop dead in their tracks, vomit, or even feel like they're on fire. A news reporter tested it out for himself at low strength, and, well, it works. What people are claiming they're hiding from us is that these microwaves can affect our minds just as much as they do our bodies. Tune the frequencies just right and they can technically implant thoughts into your mind, which may have actually been the cause of the yet unexplained Havana syndrome in Cuba back in 2016, where dozens of diplomats, CIA officers, and military personnel described a sudden onset of auditory hallucinations, pressure inside of their heads, vertigo, dizziness, nausea, migraines, and doctors even found brain tissue damage similar to that of a concussion in the victims, which are all symptoms of these microwave weapons, and exactly what the Venezuelan troops experienced too. The Havana syndrome event remains a mystery, but it's speculated these invisible frequency weapons were being tested on unwilling victims in Cuba at that time. Actually, it's kind of more likely that these symptoms were caused by LRAD, the long-range acoustic device, a similar weapon already commonly used by police and special forces. These are no secret. An ultrasonic weapon that launches high-frequency sound waves, causing nausea, disorientation, vertigo, and pressure inside the skull of the victim. Sounds very familiar. This one can also rupture your eardrums and cause permanent hearing loss. And I can't help but remind you that this technology has been publicly showcased for over 15 years. Whatever they have now, just try to imagine this, but 100 times more advanced and powerful, like real laser weapons, tested just 2 years ago by Britain's Navy called Dragonfire, which can melt objects the size of a coin from over a kilometer away using a high-powered laser. You already know the US Navy had to one-up them by testing Helios, a 60 kilowatt directed energy laser weapon, fully confirmed and out in the open, which can also fry victims and burn holes through anything like a lightsaber with a 16 plus kilometer range. And then there's China, and well, let's just not talk about China. In fact, China isn't even talking about China, and I don't think we're ready for what they're cooking. Like this giant supersonic laser death cannon rumored to have been developed by them. This video in particular was allegedly debunked to be AI, but I honestly would not be surprised, because talks of high-powered microwave and directed energy weapons, DEWs, have been out in the open for decades. The Pentagon straight up admitted they were working on weapons of this nature back in 2001, where the US Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld publicly stated directed energy weapons are in the early stages of development, and he looked hella uncomfortable talking about it. 25 years ago, by the way. The Department of Defense even had an entire task force dedicated to DEWs back in 2007, and the entire report is available online, which talks about, among many other things, using radio frequencies to simulate debilitating fevers in humans. And if held for too long, it can cook the brain, causing permanent damage and loss of life. A literal fever laser. Even recently, National Defense authorized cognitive electromagnetic warfare as a line item in their budget for fiscal year 2026 at $44 million. What in the hell is cognitive electromagnetic warfare? Are they really using these beam weapons to manipulate our own thoughts? Historically, the technology that government militaries disclose to the public are really what they already had over 10 years ago, and we can bet that's still the case today, because we have high-ranking military officials like US Navy engineer Salvatore Pace, the man who owns several patents on the most insane government technology ever, like a portable fusion device, gravitational wave generators, and, well, zero-point energy UFOs. This man explicitly warned US adversaries years ago about the technology they would use to fight against them, telling them, quote, "It'll be quick, it'll be very dirty, and you'll never do it again." His words. And everything we've seen are just the infant stages of the type of technology they're using, and they definitely used in their raid to capture Maduro. In Fortnite terms, they're showing us PlayStation 1 features when they're already on the PS9. The Venezuelan military security told the world what really happened behind the scenes, and we can't even imagine what they actually have. Some even citing they are using reverse-engineered alien technology from UFO crashes like Roswell and more recent ones like the Boogosphere. The things these super weapons can do is downright disturbing. And now, especially with AI, this technology is just going to improve parabolically until they can capture entire countries without barely lifting a finger.